Masechet Menahot Daf Zayin Amud Aleph 7 lines down. We said prior that Rabbi Yosef ben Yosyan and Rabbi Yehuda Hachtom said that a komes that was taken by someone who's pasul does not become kadosh. You can return it. The Gemara wants to know why. We gave one answer, and we're going to bring another. Rav Amram Amar Kegon shakes it out the bisa gidusha. It's the case where he returned it back to a vessel that was overflowing. Now it's above the rim. Therefore, since it's not inside the vessel, it doesn't become kadosh. When we commit hey kamas, that's the case. How did he do kmitza? The Gemara says he returned it. Okay, you know what? It was rounded. It didn't go above. The Gemara says the came into kmitza. He did kmitza. Avad leguma. Then he made a hole. Kimada. Then he returns it. He's putting it back inside. The Gemara says when he's returning it, he puts it on the side of the vessel. Then he shakes it and it falls back into the hole. Right. So if you picture like a new coffee can where you're scooping out the thing and there's a hole in the center, if you were to turn it to the sides, it's not going into the vessel, but if you shake it, it would now go back inside. And since it falls back inside, then I say, and since even though, but if I shake it, it returns back to the middle as if it was from the beginning. The thing is, since you didn't put it back into the middle, into the vessel itself, it's as if a monkey put it back in, and therefore it does not make a kadosh. Once you establish the case where the kometz was done to a vessel on the ground, and there's no kedusha there. Maybe because it's on the ground. The person must be over here concealing the kli. The fact that he didn't give that answer must be that if we do kmitza from a kli on the ground, it does become kadosh. The Gemara says Amalei says not on proof. You touched the question that we had. We had this question prior. Did Avimi did Menahot the Rav Chisda? Avimi one time was learning Menahot at the yeshiva of Rav Chisda. Before we continue, they asked a question on that. Avimi Rav Chisda Matani. Avimi studied at Rav Chisda's yeshiva. Rav Chisda said, I got many smacks from Avimi, my rabbi, because I forgot the lesson that what Bala Achriz, if a court's announcing that they're selling an orphan's property, if they made it for the consecutive days, Shoshim Yom, it needs to continue for 30 days. Sharnei Hamishi Shidin Yomeh, but if it's only made on Monday and Thursday, it has to continue for 60 days. This is the case. If they have to sell it, they have to make sure they gain the highest return. So if it's consecutive, 30 days. If it's only Monday, Thursdays, days of market, you have to do 60. We see from here that Rav Chisda was learning from Rav Imi. Why would Rav Imi be learning from Rav Chisda? Because Rav Imi forgot that Masechet. And he came to his student Rav Chisda to learn from it. Wow. Why didn't Ravimi just request Rav Chisda come teach him? Why did he go to his own student? He says the fact that I'm sacrificing to go learn, I'm more likely to succeed. Right? This is how it works in anything. You sacrifice to learn, you'll be more successful. And here we are doing that for me, even though it's not easy, even though my sechtot have been kind of rough, but we sacrifice. And Hashem should pay us back. That's Hashem amen. Anyhow, continuing the story. Nachman met Avimi when he was learning Menachot, and he said, Kesed comes in Haidu Kimiza. Amalei says, Miklize from a vessel. That he was pointing to the vessel on the ground. The Gemara says, Amalei comes in Mikli, Shavai, I have to be doing Kimiza from a kli on the ground. And he says, no. Amalei says, no. Digma Avgele Kohen, to a case where it was being held. Okay, case like them okay, how do you do Kedusha? How do you sanctify the Komes after doing Kimiza? The Gemara says, Amalei, but in the Kliza, you put into the vessel. So same question. If you can you do can you sanctify something on the ground? He says no. The coin's already lifting it. Amarle says back to him, that means you need three kohanim to do it. One to do the kmitza, one to put the kmitza on the vessel, and another one to hold the kmitza while it's being put back in. The Gemara says Amarle says, okay, what's the problem? The Tamid needs 13 kohanim to handle. Who cares if you need three? Gemara says, I'd say 1 second, you need three. The rule is kol hakometzin this kmitza. And the thing you put in the kli hamolish while you bring it from the mizbeach. Amatur you're burning it. Le'achol davar shel takru le'achol you're doing it for intention to do what's supposed to be done. Ve'ilu magbi eloktan is mentioned all these. It mentions people needed for the avodah. It does not mention someone holding the vessel, so you don't need to lift it. The Gemara says not a proof. No, mentioning the seder or what needs to be done for the avodah, but also the kohanim. You're not mentioning a specific amount of kohanim. But yes, in echlami you would need more kohanim to handle holding. What's the halacha whether or not you're allowed to do kmitza from vessels on the ground? Amalei answered him, go see what they're doing inside the Beit Mikdash. we see that what Arba'a Kohanim Nechasnei each Shabbat, four Kohanim will enter the Heichal. Shnayim B'Yadam B'Shnei Tzedarim, two of them were carrying the breads of six each. U'Shnayim B'Yadam B'Shnei Zerachim, two of them were carrying the spoons of the Levanah. V'Arba'a K'mei the L'Vneim, and four of them are walking in front. Shnayim L'Telu Shnei Tzedarim, two of them to take away the previous set of loaves. U'Shnayim L'Telu Shnei Zerachim, and two to take away the previous Levanah. So we see that we're including those involved. We don't mention those are holding the shulchan. Maybe you don't have to hold it. The Gemara says it. Again, we mentioned those doing the avodah. That's not part of the avodah. That's assisting for the avodah. The Gemara says, you can't compare that. Over there, we didn't mention the number of kohanim. Over here, we're mentioning kohanim involved. Right? We said four inside, four outside, coming in. In Meita, that's the case that should be raised. You should also mention another coin raising it. Else we never bring a proof. I'm never bring a proof that you can do kimitza from a vessel on the ground. Okay. Marava. Pshita, it's obvious to me. Comments in the klish, you do kimitza from a flea on the ground. Shekim we see regarding the removal of the spoons of Levana. And it's also obvious that someone can do kedushan and by putting it into vessels on the ground. Shekim like we see those arranging the spoons. Says kedushin commits my what's regarding the Kiddushah of the comments. Can the comments be put into a Kli or not? Mar says, can you learn from the Mincha itself? Or maybe we could learn from the blood. How the Pashta he answered it. We learn from the blood, just like the blood that it has to be put in vessels, so too the comments as well. When we learn all day you have to put in the vessel. He says, in the case of a comment which you split into two different vessels, the Rambam Kadosh. It means that if it's true that you need to put it into a vessel to receive the blood, then let me dam from dam. So we say that no, the reason why seemingly Rava changed his mind is because he retracted from that second halacha, and really he would hold that if it's two different vessels, it is not kadosh. Okay, but dam and the lo kadosh. So learn from dam that if you split it into half, not kadosh. How do you know dam itself does not work? The Gemara says, "Tanad b'tachlifa ben Shaul." Learns from the fine brayta from the paraduma. Kidesh pachot mechideh hazam beklize. If you put, we had this in the Sechet Menahot. Sorry, Zevachim, PTSD. And if someone, you have to have a certain amount of liquid to do the sprinkling, the minimum amount. So let's say you had less than a minimum in one vessel, and less than a minimum in the second vessel. Okay, this is not kedusha. We asked, "B'damai, what's the halacha regarding the blood? You need the minimum in one vessel, or two vessels is okay?" And we said, the whole concept of Pradama. Therefore, maybe we can't learn from that. Or maybe why does it not work by the water Pradama? The Tiv, dip in the water. Our pasuk as well. The Tiv says, dip in blood. But it says, in the case of the blood of the Korban, if you receive less than an amount, it's not Kadosh. Even Pruder Lazar holds. Pasuk says, when you should dip, you should not wipe it against the side of the vessel to get the blood. But in the blood, she ordered to the has to be enough blood in the vessel to be dippable. Min adam and adam from the blood, the actual from the blood. So we see. Now, why we need all words of that pasuk? You have to mention dipping and blood. Why? You mention dipping. I would have thought. Even if I didn't get enough blood in the vessel for dipping, it's okay. Therefore, in the blood teaching, you need a lot in the single vessel. Mention blood. Even if you're wiping it, therefore the pasuk wrote Isha dip must be enough. They have to be dipping specifically, not swiping. Okay. Why mention from the blood? What does that exclude? It excludes that you can't use the leftover blood on the coin's finger after sprinkling. That he holds that the remaining blood on the coin's fingers is pasul for sprinkling again. Not that it's pasul, but that it's not kadosh anymore. Your students in the name of Ramam. 10 breath says, the Kohen was sprinkling the blood. And the sprinkling went from his hand onto clothing. If you didn't sprinkle the blood yet, Talmud Kibbutz has to wash it because Kadosh. Mishizaf, you already sprinkled it, and Talmud Kibbutz, you don't have to wash it. My lab must be. Actually, Gemara has it though, even if it was got dirty before you finish sprinkling. And we Gemara has it though, when you finish sprinkling, Shemamina. You don't need to wash it. Must be the shirayim ba'esba kashri must be the finger blood is kadosh because it came from his finger after sprinkling. The Gemara says not proof. Actually, lo it's not me though hazat. So in my case, if before the sprinkling did not leave his hand and then it's splattered onto clothing, town kibbutz have to wash. Which has if one sprinkling already left and the blood went onto the garment and town kibbutz have to wash it. Proof that according to this explanation, we're ruling that the blood on the kohen is not good enough for sprinkling. Another question. Gamar milazahot. When you finish sprinkling the blood, you should wipe your hand on the body of the paradma. Gamar eats something only when it's finished. Logamar good not finished not, even if you sprinkled, seemingly you continue sprinkling. Right says Amaleno, Gamar mekaneach yedo. If you finish all the sprinklings, then you wipe your hand on the cap. Logamar mekaneach if you did not finish, you wipe only your finger because you can't reuse that finger. Blood. Bishlama Gemara Mikneh But makes sense for wiping if you finish everything, you wipe your hand. If you shall burn the cow. And then Logamar Mikneh where we know that you're supposed to burn if you're not finished sprinkling, you wipe your finger. What should you wipe it on? Where it says you should wipe it on the rim of the pole of the Kli Sharet. Pasuk says, Keforeh Zahav, we use golden bowls with a rim for that purpose, that if you have extra blood or whatever it is in the finger, you could wipe it on the rim so that it sticks there.